My name is Melissa, and this is my channel Geeky Witch about all things cross-stitch in my life. Today is day 4 of a video a day August. It is August 4th, 2026. It is a absolutely beautiful morning here in Rhode Island. The sun is shining, the humidity is down after a day of rain, and I have my morning coffee. So all is good in the world. Today's video for Video Day August is going to be organizing stitching. Now, traditionally, I have a much larger spread of how I organize my stitching, but a whole lot of that is currently in boxes in a pod. So we're kind of doing a little bit of organizing on the fly, and this is here's how I'm getting through the next few months. The irony being that with how I'm organizing, I'm already going to be packed up today for the retreat I'm going to in October. Yay me for getting ahead of myself, right? Okay, so I am someone who has a whole ton of whips. And so a lot of the system is organized based on that. My system is pretty organized for how much of a mental disaster I tend to be, and it makes sense to me. So if it helps you, awesome. If you think that, whoa, she goes too far, that's just kind of how my brain works. You know, we all have our thing. So, all right, getting started. For the most part, I don't keep anything but active whips on frames. While yes, I actually do have a fairly large collection of hoops and frames and Q-snaps and all that, I do not keep pieces in them, and with a few exceptions, I don't keep them in with the projects themselves. If like when I was working on the big gigantic band sampler from iStitch Designs, that stays loose on a set of bars, on the roller bars, on a scroll frame. I have the Birds and Berries box, which I'll show you, and that has a super, 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 super tiny frame. So I do keep that one in with that project, only because it's small. I will probably misplace it, and nothing else I have is going to work with that project. So it stays in there. Otherwise, I pretty much almost exclusively stitch on a Q-snap. This one is a knockoff that I think I got at either Joann's or at Michael's, I'm not sure which. But I have a number of different Q-snap sizes, so I can make frames according to what the project dictates. I have the wooden round Nourish hoops. I prefer the thick ones that are like, I like the 1-inch thick hoops, the really nice thick hoops, because those I can actually attach onto my Lowry frame. The other thing I like are these square Nourish plastic hoops. These are probably my go-tos these days on almost everything. I used to be an exclusive Q-snap stitcher, but I'm finding as I get older, it's starting to hurt my wrist a little bit. Still love using them, but I can't comfortably hold them as much as I used to. So my Q-snaps now are used with my Lowry frame. If I'm going to stitch where I'm just kind of curled up on the couch and I don't want to deal with the frame, these are the guys that come out. So I'm going to put those there. Notes, events, all that kind of stuff. I have a stitching journal that I picked up last year from Black Needle Design. I haven't been using it as much as I thought I would. Although I was pretty good in the beginning of the year, and then it died off, I think, as we got more into this move. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be continuing that next year. We're going to see. Knowing me, I'll give in, and I'll probably buy it anyway. Because I like journals. But this is where I keep my notes about upcoming events, stuff that I'm stitching on for the day, especially like when I have a big crazy thing like frogworts, all my notes just kind of get thrown in there. I don't do all the decorative planning in here. It is set up almost like the layout of like a happy planner. Let me show you actually a good day of chaos. So like this was the week of frogworts. And so I was keeping my stitch counts and that kind of stuff. But I don't really do a whole ton of decorating or anything in this. And it hasn't been used as much as it should be. We'll put it that way. Too many planners. Okay, let's see. What else do I have that need? All right, so the individual projects themselves. Here's how I organize my projects. I have a ton of cats in my household. So every project needs to have its own project bag. And they need to be kept closed at all times because especially the cloth ones, they tend to get furred. Fur is a way of life in this household. It just is. I have one of those rollers, you know, that you use for your clothes in my stitching bag at all times because it doesn't matter. I can pull a piece out that I cleaned last time I stitched on it. It's going to have fur on it. It happens. Anyway, every project has its own bag. These bags come in bulk. You can get them on Amazon. They're very reasonably priced and they come in a whole bunch of different sizes. I tend to get the ones that will fit either US letter or the international A4 size, or a little bit larger than that so that it can accommodate a project that's still like in one of those, the document sleeves, you know, that they all come in these days. So this is how I have them set up. They always have all of their floss. I keep a set of floss for every single project in every single bag. The reason for that is dye lots. And that includes DMC. DMC changes over time. If I've been working on a project for many, many years, the floss just changes. It just does. It's what happens. So every project has its own set of floss. There's usually a needle in here there's a needle minder in here. There is a needle in here. There is not a set of scissors in here. I keep the scissors separate, partially so they don't poke through these things, and partially because I don't have that many pairs of scissors and I don't want that many pairs of scissors. So scissors are kept separate I have a traveling like notions bag, and I'll show you that in a moment. But every project has its own bag. Every project is labeled. Oh, see, there you go. Birth samplers. I have the name of the project, or in this case, because these are the only birth samplers I'm working on, so I can find them. When I have my entire setup in my room, and if you go back, well, 2 videos now, you'll see before I start breaking down my office, I had a cabinet here of just whips. It was just all project bags, and I keep them stacked sideways with this tab out, so I don't have to pull every single project out to see what it is. All I have to do is take a look and see the name. So we have all of the project bags. Some of my project bags are fabric. This is the one for the frogworts, and as you can see, it is thick because there's a whole ton of stuff in here. Oh, this one, breaking my own rule about scissors. Let me get you out of there. Those do not belong in there. But again, everything in this case, everything for all 7 years is in here. All of the floss, all of my working copies, everything is in here. And of course, ID'd. So I have a mix of cloth ones. I love the cloth ones, but of course they do tend to collect cat hair a lot easier. These plastic ones are less expensive. They're just as rugged and they're waterproof, or at least water resistant, other than where, you know, the zipper is. They can be bought in bulk. So I am not a, oh, I only use these, I only use these. I started entirely with the fabric ones because that was my introduction to them. And now I'd say my collection of them is probably about half fabric and half these guys. And over time, as the fabric ones wear out, it'll probably go more to these just because they're less expensive and they're easier to pick up. Because I can get a pack of like 20 of these for the price of one of these, but these are handmade, so the price is justified. These aren't. All right, so we've got, this one is my Coming to America with everything in it. This one is Mary Foch in my Rip It bag. This one was made by the 805 Stitcher. I think I got this one in a Black Needle project bag, or a Black Needle subscription box at some point. Bird and Berry box is probably the only one that kind of annoys me because it doesn't sit flat with the rest of them because of the actual box. But again, everything is in here. And this is the one that I break the rule with. It has the hoop in there. It does have the pair of red scissors in there because those are actually part of the finishing kit. And this is one that was made by my friends Peggy and Roberta, who used to make a bunch of bags but have since retired from doing so. And they made the fountain pen one, and I'm like, yeah, that has to be me. So, but this one doesn't, this is like the only downside is that this thing sticks out. One important thing, if you do get these type of bags, and I'm kind of breaking my own rule here just because I was packing things up, you want to be really careful about getting, especially photocopied, but any regular paper patterns against the vinyl, because over time it's going to stick. The ink will stick, it will imprint itself on the vinyl. It can be cleaned, but it's just a pain in the butt. So if you're worried about that kind of thing, the simple solution is you put your project in on the front and keep the fabric to the front. I also have, I want to say I've got about a half dozen of these now, but this is the only one currently out of the gigantic project bag. These guys are significantly larger. And these also came from Black Needle. This came in, I think, my second year Frogworks box. I have Mute But Not Silent in this one. I usually reserve these for projects like, if I were to do one, a Heaven and Earth would go in one of these because of all the floss. Or my chatelaines are in ones like this. These are the ones that for your big everything to do projects. If I had a spare, my Frogworks would probably move into one of these. But, and again, tagged, so this is Mute But Not Silent. It does currently, this one is big enough to actually put an 11-inch hoop in it, and I can feel I do have it on there because that's what I'm working on right now. All right, this is Fruits of Plenty. I need to do a serious rolling job on this one because it's fuzzy. But that is how I keep all of my projects. For right now, I have everything, and of course I just rolled over it. Everything goes in what normally is my retreat bag. This is the bag. I do have a collection of projects that I haven't started in here that I was like, I don't know if these are going to happen or not this year. I was kind of itching about them, so they're in here. I'm not going to show them right now. I'll show them another time. But in this bag, along with the projects, I received this at Stitch New England last year as kind of a table gift from the retreat, and it's one of those neat little boxes with all your stash. I already had one in a bag form that, you know, oh, one of my needle minders was stuck there. I have my Hellfire Club one, and this keeps all of my defuzzer doodads, and I have a beeswax thing, and the very important, the Allen wrench for my stitch frame so that I never lose the thing. I've got a quarter gauge in here, a little bit of hand lotion. This is where I usually keep a pair of scissors or two, and spare needles. I also keep in here just a group of highlighter pens because I am an old school stitcher and I still work off of paper. I have never done a piece off of a digital copy. Everything I do is still off of paper. If I ever did a Heaven and Earth from beginning to end, that's where I would see, no, I need to go digital just so I can keep track of this better. But this is what works for me. So, all right, so let's pack up the bag. The bag is huge. I know this was from Black Needle Society, and over the years, they sent 3 of these out. I have got 2. I've got a Halloween-y one. I've got one that's kind of a Harry Potter themed, and then I've got a Christmas one, and they are the best project bags for carrying to retreats ever. They carry everything I have here is going to fit in this bag. So we're going to stuff everything in. And yeah, the irony being that, of course, that means that I am already packed for Stitch New England. That doesn't happen until the beginning of October. This would definitely be a record for me. So, all right, let's get that there. I'm going to put my planner bag in here. All of my stitch frames that I'm working with go in here. Stuff. Now the Q snap is going to be a little difficult to fit in here. That'll work. All right. The only other thing that I keep, and I forgot to show you it, but this is my stand. I have 2 of these, but the other one I think got packed. But it is just a handy dandy little put together frame. This one has all the things for cooking, so eventually it'll find its way back into my kitchen because conversions right out front for your books are handy. But it all comes apart. There's no screws or anything. And that just gets stuffed in the bag. And that is my project bag. And everything, that is how I keep all of my stitching organized and ready to go to hangouts with friends, to retreats. And right now, this is how all of my stitching is being kept together. So that is how I organize my stitching. All right. So I will see everybody tomorrow for day 5. It will be a live stitch with me from 10:30 to 11:30 p.m. before I go to bed. Hopefully I will have everything set up so you can just see my hands and just see what I'm working on. And I'd love to hang out with you for an hour and just stitch. We won't be doing timers. It's just going to be a live stitch. So till tomorrow, have a great day, everybody. I'll see you Wednesday evening. Bye.